Miracle Boy Boxing, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, the one and only hosting Cruz, bringing you another exciting edition of boxing. Don't forget to hit and like, subscribe to my channel. It's always greatly appreciated. Stay tuned. Miracle Boy Boxing, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, hosting Cruz, and guys, I am here to talk about a pretty good fight at 140 pounds. I'm not really a fan of it though, but it's gonna happen, may happen actually. And that is between WBO champion Teofimo Lopez versus IBF world champion Richardson Hitchins. So it's a unification fight, and it's currently in negotiations. Now, about this fight, man, Teofimo, man, we gotta go back to that ducking that he did with Subriel because that fight would be in, in talks and plans, and that went out the window. Uh, when Teofimo backed out, he decided to back off, and he wanted, well, obviously he wanted no part of Subriel. Subriel wanted to fight. Bob Arum even came out and said that he was gonna get paid the most money. For example, I'm gonna show you guys the image right here. Bob Arum's words. He said we offered him his biggest purse ever for Subriel Matias, and the opportunity to earn even more if somehow the pay-per-view took off. Because remember, they planned it. It was talked about to be a pay-per-view. And Bob Arum didn't want to put this on pay-per-view because he felt that not too many people was gonna buy it. Not too many people buy his pay-per-view nowadays, things like that. And he turned that down. So Teofimo excuse with Subriel Matias was that he's not worthy, he's not, what do you call it? He's not worthy, and he doesn't bring anything to the table. He's not a world champion. And that's true. He's not a world champion. He's high risk, low reward. I get it. But the caliber of a Teofimo Lopez, former unified champion at 135 pounds, now current world champion at 140, can box, can punch, um, very entertaining in the ring, and he's one of the biggest. He's a very big name in boxing. It's kind of strange how fans say he don't sell, and maybe that may be true because Teofimo, but because like I said, it's kind of funny because Teofimo, like I said, he's one of the biggest names in boxing right now. A very world class fighter, high skilled, and always fun to watch. Now, Teofimo, by Elvis ducked Subriel as well. That's a disappointment as well. Teofimo now, and Elvis hasn't really accomplished. He's never been a world champion, all that stuff. Good fighter though. He backed off. Okay, you look bad, but okay, yeah, you saying Subriel doesn't deserve you. Never been a world champion, haven't beat no elite fighter, but Subriel doesn't deserve to step in there, which, okay, blah, blah, blah. Now, Teofimo declining Subriel Matias, because this is, boxing is a true fighter sport. Fighters, real fighters. Anyone that stepped in there with Subriel Matias is a real fighter, because there's a saying that Max Kellerman said years ago on HBO. Don't fight him. Don't fight him if you don't have to fight him. And that's the type of fighter Subriel is. Don't fight him if you don't have to fight him. High risk, low reward. And maybe Teofimo did that. Don't fight him if you don't have to fight him. But real fighters don't turn down fights like that, especially the caliber of a Teofimo. So by Teofimo turning down Subriel, and not only turning down Subriel, turning down his biggest purse. So it's not like no money was on the table for a Subriel fight, like chump change. No, Bob Arum was giving him his biggest pay. Plus, if the pay-per-view took off, he gets a percentage of that. And Teofimo still turned it down. So for Teofimo to turn down a big payday, his biggest payday, pay-per-view revenue, which it means that he didn't really want to fight Subriel. Because Subriel could have had a belt and the fight still wouldn't happen. And look how quick Teofimo is in negotiations with Richardson Hitchins. He's got the belt, not Subriel, brah. That's BS because if Subriel had the belt, this fight still wouldn't have happened. Because once Subriel had the belt, Subriel had an injured hand. And Subriel called him out right away. Why call me out when I'm injured? Fight me at 100%. Fight me in June. Never happened because Teofimo already had an opponent in Steve Clack. Teofimo won and Matias lost to Paro. So, Teofimo had an excuse. Matias had no belt now, lost to Paro. And now, as you guys know already, I made a video of it. The fight was in negotiations, and Teofimo backed off. Teofimo backed off, and I already explained all that in my video about that fight, a few videos down before this video. And yeah, but anywho, Teofimo Lopez versus Richardson Hitchins is in negotiations. Pretty good fight. Um, it's a pretty interesting style of matchup. You got the excellent counter puncher, um, angles upon angles. You just never know what Teofimo's going to do in the ring. Versus the very good sharp boxer, good long jab, excellent 1-2. Not the hardest puncher, but can get your but will get your respect in Richardson Hitchins. It's a good fight. Like I said, and what boxing should be is the best versus the best. You know, two guys, world champions, unification. Why not? Um, so yeah, that's in negotiations. They don't have a date yet or anything of the fight because in negotiations, nothing is official. But just to show you how quick Teofimo is like Richardson Hitchins. Matias lost the belt. He jumped on Paro right away. But he didn't want to. He was hesitant when Matias was champion. So it is what it is. Just wanted to come out here and talk together about that. As Teofimo Lopez versus Richardson Hitchins is in negotiations in a unification fight sometime this year. Miracle Boy Boxing, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Jose Cruz. Don't forget to like, subscribe to my channel, guys. It is always a pleasure to talk together about boxing. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace.